Welcome to Smash Fiction, the podcast where we pit two or more nerd icons against each other in a battle of strength, or wits, or gravelly monotone. Excuse me. And see who would win. This week, Brock Samson versus Sterling Archer. The brilliant man-child Rusty Venture has recently completed his newest invention, the Finglonger, and plans to present this masterpiece of gadgetry at the next annual Super Science Expo. But his self-proclaimed arch-nemesis, the Monarch, has no intention of allowing Venture the chance at genuine success. The butterfly-themed villain spots an ad for ISIS on a bus bench and decides to make use of them instead of his usual inept goons. Thus, narcissistic and possibly autistic secret agent Sterling Archer gets the order to make off with the invention and its backup plans. But as it turns out, Venture is especially paranoid of his prized invention being stolen, and posts Brock as a last and best line of defense to guard it. By the time the Monarch pays ISIS and Archer is deployed, the Super Science Expo is underway. The Finglonger, along with many other impossible bizarre and impossibly bizarre inventions, is located on the showroom floor amongst the throngs of nerds and super scientists. Most of the inventions, including Venture's, are locked behind clear safes, allowing the masses to view but not touch. In this match, Brock and Archer will come to blows, but will Archer defeat the walking Swedish murder machine and make off with the Finglonger, or will Brock successfully use his license to kill to successfully protect Venture's prized possession? I have no fucking clue. That's why I, Kit Mulcairn, am your secret agent judge for this week. Advocating for Brock Samson are Dan Mulcairn.
Archer, you don't want to shoot me. You know me. You know what I'll do to you if you do.
And Miles Schneiderman. Why are you naked?
To prey on their fear, move like an animal to feel the kill.
Oh, great. Advocating for Sterling Archer are Colin Mulcairn.
I swear I had something for this.
I knew it. I knew it.
It's clearly the best option.
Yeah.
And Liz Logan.
Colin.
What?
Danger zone!
Oh, this is my favorite episode already. Oh boy. Okay. All right. I'm ready. Anyway. All right. To determine which team goes first, I gave each team a dead chicken and told them to create with it a functioning cyborg poultry abomination. Team Brock was the first to successfully spit in the face of God and decency. Arise, chicken. Chicken, arise. All right. Brock, Team Brock, you have the floor.
Go Team Venture.
Go Team Venture.
Sterling Archer.
Yeah, go Team Venture.
Go away.
Sterling Archer does well enough for himself in a world of spies, despite being the constant target of ridicule from those who know him. Brock Samson also lives in a world of spies, along with supervillains, monsters, magic, and ridiculous nonsensical sci-fi stuff. And yet, despite having no apparent superpowers, except for being able to tell whenever someone is in his car, no one in this high-powered world ridicules Brock. He is regarded as incredibly dangerous and strikes fear into anyone who knows his reputation. The difference between the two is simple but overwhelming competence. Brock's ability in hand-to-hand combat is insane. He's been seen to kill, among other things, bears, monsters, and T-Rexes with nothing more than his Bowie knife and his bare hands. It's also stated in the game Poker Night 2 that Brock has, and I quote, super testosterone.
Also stated in that game, apparently he's a descendant of Ash from Evil Dead.
Yes, indeed.
A descendant? How old is Brock and how old is Ash?
No, from when Ash was in the 14th century.
Oh,
man.
that Ash. Okay.
Yeah.
Were you thinking Ash Ketchum?
No, I was thinking just like modern day Ash, like Bruce Campbell's kid. And I was like, how old is...
Yeah, Evil Dead's a period piece, didn't you know? Anyway.
Well, yeah, okay, sorry.
Brock may disdain guns, but only because he believes that they, and again, I quote, are for sissies. But the fact that he prefers not to use guns doesn't mean that he isn't incredibly good with them. There's a moment in the episode The Incredible Mr. Brisby when he saves Dr. Venture from a fall by pinning the doctor's pant cuff to the wall using a dart gun. That is some unbelievable marksmanship. With that level of familiarity with guns, even an experienced sniper like Archer will be hard-pressed to get a bead on him, as Brock will know exactly how to move and how to position himself to ensure that he can easily get up close and personal with the young Mr. Archer. As if that wasn't enough, Brock is basically superhumanly tough. He even survived the vacuum of space. In the episode Hate Floats, he goes into surgery to have a bullet removed, and the surgeon finds 3 additional bullets, a blowgun dart, 2 shark's teeth, the tip of a bayonet, a twisted paperclip, and a handful of buckshot, all of which was beneath the notice and pain threshold of Brock Samson. If Archer somehow does manage to hurt Brock without killing him, he is in for a world of hurt, the likes of which are beyond comprehension. The minions of the Monarch once attempted to take out Samson by hitting him with a truck, but this act only made Brock somehow more dangerous, as he was still fine and still alive, but was now extremely pissed off and went on an unstoppable spree of carnage until not a minion was left standing. Brock Samson is competent to an insane degree. As I mentioned earlier, Archer has some skill, but those skills are crushed beneath the weight of his oafishness, at least as often as they are ever actually useful. First of all, Archer is much more acclimated to a cushy, privileged lifestyle. He has a butler who dresses him every day, for Godzilla's sake. Also, given his
Extra points.
Also, given his tendency to constantly down alcohol, he'll probably be at least partially in the bag when this match starts, while Brock will be walking in with a clear head. Archer has a reputation for making consistently bad decisions, many of which originate from his stubborn rejection of obvious facts that clash with his own pre-existing assumptions, such as in Skytanic, when he expends a great deal of time and energy freaking out because of the helium gas providing lift for the airship Excelsior.
It was a death trap, Dan. How could
gas whose lack of flammability is explained to him countless times over the course of the episode to no avail. Objective, provable reality is no match for his willful idiocy. Archer also has a tendency to faint at inopportune times. We see this happen in 4 separate episodes. His mother even remarked that he was half-fainting goat. Finally, let's examine another difference between the 2 characters. Both characters are habitual list keepers. Archer keeps 2 lists, one of things he's scared of, and one of things he wants to do at some point. Brock keeps 1 list of incredible things he's already done. On this list include, killed a polar bear with a knife, put Edgar Allan Poe in a headlock, and stabbed Adolf Hitler to death. That's right. Brock has done what, as Liz herself pointed out, Indiana Jones could never do. Kill Hitler.
Yeah, Sterling Archer is commonly referred to as the world's most dangerous spy. The world, apparently, has never heard of Brock Samson. Half Swedish, a quarter Polish, and a quarter Winnebago, Samson is a perfect killing machine, universally feared and respected by all who have witnessed his prowess or been a victim of his rage. And he's not just about maiming his enemies either. Brock is first and foremost a spy, capable of infiltrating dangerous locations undetected, taking out targets by stealth, and utilizing his incomparable fighting skills, state-of-the-art OSI equipment, and brutal tactics to complete any mission he is given. He's better than Archer in almost every way, while possessing none of the flaws that drag Duchess down. Let's start with the fighting stuff, since that's what Samson is best known for after all. Usually all he needs is his serrated knife. That knife has taken out everything from supervillains to the mythical Chupacabra, and when Brock's blood is up, he usually doesn't even need the knife. This guy beats up mummies and ghosts on a regular basis.
And then pees on them.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the only way you make sure they stay dead.
Yeah, you have to defile the corpse.
Yep.
Brock has also demonstrated incomparable ingenuity in defeating his foes. In one memorable instance, he killed a great white shark before killing an assassin with the shark. He defeated a pair of pirates while one of them had their hand up his ass. He jumped out of a plane without a parachute, landed on a guy wearing a jetpack, and then used the jetpack as an aerial surfboard. He took control of a car by letting himself get hit by the car. He climbed out of his own shallow grave, and as Dan mentioned, survived the vacuum of space. When Brock found himself trapped in Dr. Venture's Joy Can, a device that shows its victims their dearest desire, Brock was shown images of him literally killing everything. There's a reason why death by Samson is a term used to describe the most glorious possible demise. Brock is also a master of stealth, as evidenced by his skills at infiltration and sneak attacks. He defended the Venture compound against a full-on attack by the Guild of Calamitous Intent, striking from the shadows, yes, while naked, and acquiring information via intimidation. Whereas Archer has been found out pretty much every time he ever puts on a disguise, telling everyone in the vicinity he's a secret agent doesn't help. Brock has used disguises to great effect, both in the short term, for example, sneaking into Don Hell's nightclub in a mummy costume, and in the long term, such as the time he spent infiltrating the villainous organization Long Division. Unlike Archer, Brock took his training seriously, and that training, combined with his physical gifts and irrepressible bloodlust, have made him more than worthy of taking the world's most dangerous spy designation. He will run circles around Archer in any scenario, and if they do get the chance to meet face to face, Archer will probably be incapacitated by his own vomiting once Brock reveals that he slept with Archer's mom back in the day. To sum up, in the words of hunter-gatherers, to Brock Samson, long live that blonde-haired buttercream frosted murder cake!
Awesome. Team Archer.
Sterling Mallory Archer is only really afraid of 3 things in life: alligators, crocodiles, and brain aneurysms. I don't think Brock is any of those. Archer is the ultimate spy. He's skilled in combat, driving, larceny, and clandestine operations, while also having a total lack of empathy, where he is not afraid of doing whatever he needs to do in order to get his way or complete a mission, no matter how ridiculous. Even when the guy was suffering amnesia and believed himself to be a fry cook, he was able to single-handedly take out a group of KGB agents with a spatula, coffee pot, and a bottle of ketchup. He's been able to finagle his way out of the craziest situations, whether it's at the bottom of a flooding underwater station, busting out behind enemy lines in Russia while being nearly beaten half to death, pirate fortress, oh yeah, and space. Fuck you, space. This guy has survived being shot This guy has survived being shot nearly 28 times, survived breast cancer, horrific car crashes, and improperly poached eggs made by Woodhouse. And if you think Archer couldn't stand a beating from Brock, then you need to remember a cyborg named Barry. Because let me tell you, that guy hits hard, and Archer's a champ, takes it like a pro. The guy's a master of disguise, one-liners, and can easily keep his enemies distracted by talking them half to death. Plus, Archer is incredibly smart, even though he doesn't always show it in the best way. And this is evidenced by his ability to quickly analyze tactical situations and his constant ribbing of coworkers of needing to go read a book. He's able to rattle off tons of knowledge about even the most mundane of things and can keep track of nearly everything happening in a combat zone. I have no doubt that Archer will be able to steal whatever Rusty Venture has created and placed in this Science Expo thing. He has already shown that he is able to break into highly fortified locations and recover precious goods. Plus, Archer is known for being stealthy. From his tactical turtleneck to his night vision goggles, Archer has the right equipment for getting into a place sneakily. I'm sorry, but how is Brock going to blend in with this crowd of nerds, with shoulders like his? I mean, the guy is a huge target, whereas all Archer has to do, slap on a mustache and start calling himself Randy, and I'm sure he could get real close to whatever he needs to steal. And, you know...
That's worked for him well in the past. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, we'll give him a TV camera, too, and it'll last a little longer. So he'll be, like, reporting on the situation. Plus, Archer has plenty of experience in dealing with civilians in combat situations. For example, dealing with all the civilians while saving the Excelsior, surviving a murderous spa weekend, and dealing with civilians on vacation in a beautiful European resort town. He has all the tools necessary to be able to steal this. I'm sure Brock won't even realize that he was there. And if things come to blow, Archer's a limber dude. He can pretty much get out of anything. I mean, jumping from rooftops and taking crazy zip lines, using vehicles. Archer's got it done. Brock's name starts with a B. You know who else's name began with a B? Brett. You know what happened to Brett? Archer is so skilled with his pistol that he subconsciously was able to bank his shots off various walls and the ceiling to shoot this guy multiple times in a bunch of episodes. I don't know. Something, danger zone! I know, I'm not even trying anymore. God.
Facts. All of these were facts.
Archer doesn't even need to try to beat Brock. He'll just do it. Archer is the Tom Cruise in this Kenny Loggins story. He is the Maverick.
Okay. So yeah, let's also take a look at Mr. Samson. He is, without question, a total force of nature, absurdly strong and durable and tenacious. He kills a polar bear with a knife, by which I mean he uses a knife to kill a polar bear, not that he kills a polar bear who's using a knife. But this does not matter, because Sterling Archer is not a polar bear. Sterling Archer is one of the greatest spies of all time, right up there with James Bond and Ethan Hunt. He's just more openly and obviously a total douchebag. But that doesn't make him a bad spy. That's what's so annoying about him. People want him to be a doofus, but he's not. Mallory would fire him in a heartbeat, but he's just such a good agent that she can't. He's like one of those really good students who misbehaves all the time because because everything just bores him so much. That's why he does a lot of his missions half drunk, because it's the only way that he can do them with any sort of challenge. He has an insane encyclopedic knowledge of weaponry and military and espionage tactics due to his aforementioned neurological abnormalities. And Archer is to espionage as Brock is to wrestling and knife fighting. They're both experts at what they do, but what are they going to be doing more of in this scenario? If Archer ends up unarmed and trapped in a steel cage, then Brock will undoubtedly kill the shit out of him. But if Archer has access to all of his gear and the ability to freely move around his environment, it's no contest. Gun beats knife. Spy beats freakishly strong man with a knife. And also, one of Brock's big weaknesses that he would probably prefer that nobody know about is the fact that he is at his core very moral and a big softy. We see that he won't harm innocents and that he lets his guard down and comforts enemies that he leaves mortally wounded. Archer, on the other hand, is rotten to the core. When he gets the upper hand, he is all about the backstabbing and the betrayals.
And also, may I add, while Archer wouldn't go out of his way to hurt anyone, he certainly won't care if someone gets hurt on accident while he's taking out Brock. The guy even gets an erection from thinking about his own mother being dead.
Yes. So if you want to talk...
That's a whole different story.
Yeah.
Archer is hardcore to the core, and Brock Samson, although he acts tough, inside he's just a big ball of fluff, like his hair.
But also has an animal cruelty problem.
Yes. Whereas Archer gets along very well with animals, like ocelots. That is all.
Oh, and if we want to compare the true difference between Brock and Archer in the best way possible, let's talk about sex real quick.
I'm intrigued.
Let's talk about sex.
Both Brock and Archer...
Baby, let's talk about you and me.
Both Brock and Archer love to have crazy, no strings attached sex. However, they both have a lady in their lives that they truly love. For Brock, it's Molotov cocktease. For Archer, it's Lana Kane. Now tell me, who is able to actually bed their sexual unicorn? That's right, Archer. Sorry, Brock. Not even just the tip for you.
Well, Lana doesn't wear an iron chastity belt, so...
That's right. She didn't promise her father on his deathbed that she would always wear a chastity belt.
Love finds a way.
If Brock was more of a man, maybe he could get her to break that promise.
Love finds a way.
Oh,
Man, this is two episodes in a row where the feminist in me is a little bit antsy.
Yeah.
There.
we didn't bring up any of this shit. This is all these guys.
Nope.
Just saying.
Sploosh.
All right, anything else, guys, before we get into the rebutes? All right, rip them apart.
Okay.
Like you do.
Okay, so the world of Venture Brothers is much more absurd and over the top than that of Archer. And a frequent source of that absurdity is the crazy, seemingly impossible things that Brock is capable of doing. There is some level of crazy over-the-top absurdity in Archer, but most of it comes from the seemingly impossible levels of incompetence and stupidity that Archer can achieve. You guys talked about how Brock, has a certain soft spot. He has a code of morals. He won't harm innocents, that sort of thing. But really, ever since Lana became pregnant, and even leading up to that point, Archer has really had his edges taken off. In Coyote Lovely, there was a part where he had the opportunity to have sex with a very hot Hispanic woman, but decided to save the two Border Patrol officers instead of taking up that opportunity. In The Holdout, there was a part where he helped to reunite a Japanese soldier who hadn't talked to his family in decades with his family. And then when some CIA officers were trying to, pull him away, he screamed at them to give him a minute as he watched the soldier tearfully reunite with his family. This is not a hardened killer. This is not someone who is utterly passionless or heartless. He has at least as big of a soft spot as Brock has, and probably a significantly bigger soft spot than Brock has.
Yeah, to say that Brock is a big softy at heart, he obviously cares about his family and everything, but, the innocent, kinda. He definitely won't kill women and children, because that's part of, the code that hunter-gatherers taught him. But yeah, I don't see Brock as just being this fuzzy teddy bear that you're making out to be. Similarly, I don't see Archer as being as competent as you're making him out to be. You say that he is just, his problems are all personal, he has all these issues, but he still excels at what he does, which is being a spy. That's fine. Brock's a spy too, and he's a better one. I can think, just off the top of my head, I'm thinking of missions that Archer fucked up in some way. Let's see. Conway Stern. totally had to get saved by Lana. If Lana wasn't there, then Conway Stern would have gotten away with the plans to the weapon, the Whisper Drive, because Archer was, just totally stabbed in the back by him. There was the actress who turned out to be a Russian sleeper agent. She got the better of Archer and Lana. There was the time where he tried to seduce the gay guy. That didn't work out. What's his name? Ramon Limon. Yeah, totally
they reconciled since then.
Yeah, totally saw through his disguise. And Archer gave all his information away to Cuban hit squad agents. There was the part where he had the airboat, and he just totally blew out the airboat and sabotaged his own plan to stop the special agent Gandalf, or whatever his name was, from blowing up the pipeline. I mean, there are innumerable examples of Archer just fucking up his missions, guys.
Yeah, in situations where anyone with even an average degree of competence would be able to do this fine. His skills are fine. That's not what we're saying. It's his own sort of mental handicaps that he has. I'm talking about his narcissism, his egomaniacism. I'm talking about his just utter rejection of blatant facts to match some worldview that he's partly put together by watching old History Channel reruns. It's just, he's such a wreck of a human being. He's only really alive because of his skills, but he certainly doesn't succeed nearly as much as he should with those skills.
Yeah, also, you mentioned Barry. Barry beats Archer, every time, especially after he becomes a cyborg. Brock has taken down cyborgs before. Lots of them. Old hat for Brock Samson, alright? Cyborg's nothing. He's taken down all kinds of shit, all kinds of crazy gadgets. He's all in love with death rays. He knows how to use a death ray. Okay, just gonna say that.
Yeah, he also has enemies who are missing limbs, but Phantom Limb is way scarier than Barry is. Brock's reflexes are honed to a ridiculous degree. He, while asleep, he reflexively chokes people who try to wake him up. That's when he's asleep. Right. That's when he's not paying attention. Archer can't compete with that level of reaction time.
Oh, and this whole thing about how Brock would stand out in the Science Expo and Archer would be totally inconspicuous. What show did you watch? Archer is never, ever inconspicuous, and Brock, as previously mentioned, has shown much more skill with disguises and infiltration than Archer ever has.
Also,
okay, all right.
One more thing.
Uh-huh.
You just know that A, Archer is going to try to set up a situation in which he can use his night vision goggles. And B, when he does, he will be blinded when the lights come on. Because that is a 100% thing that happens every single time.
Okay. We're worth allowing. But you watch yourself, Mulcairn. Now it's time for the other Mulcairn and Liz.
So you mentioned all the stuff that got dug out of Brock when a doctor was taking a look at him. Similarly, Archer mentioned...
Phantom Limb, not really a doctor, but yeah.
Okay. Archer has been shot 26 times. What was the figure that I got? Liz then corrected me saying it was 28 because she got a sampling from later in the series. They
one was a beanbag.
One was a beanbag. That was like she said almost 20. It's like 27 and a half because they count the beanbag as a half. But anyway, you talk about Brock fighting like a way higher caliber of villain than Archer does. But I mean, if you take a look at their usual minion, the Monarch, he can defeat an entire room full of the Monarch's minions. I could defeat an entire room full of the Monarch's minions. They're not that threatening. And like the mummy that he fights, you don't see it having any like mummy powers. It just kind of goes like, I am a mummy. And then he just punches it. And it's basically just like an old feeble zombie man. You know, the things that he does fight that are genuinely impressive, I'll admit, are the wild animals. You know, your crocodiles and your polar bears and your sharkses and whatnot.
And the legit non-monarch supervillains, let's be clear. Especially when he joins Sphinx.
Even then, most of them are more comedic than they are a serious threat. Most of the villains that he fights.
That's the whole deal with Sphinx, though, is that these are the ones that aren't the comedic threat. These are the ones that are the real threat.
Yeah. Regardless, Archer could beat any of these villains that Brock gets put up against, and the way he will do that is by shooting them. Because Archer could also beat a polar bear or a shark or a crocodile. He would shoot it. Brock may ridicule people who use guns for being sissies, and that may be the case, but this sissy is going to shoot him. To bring up a point that Miles has brought up in 2 previous episodes, remember that scene in Indiana Jones? I believe you brought this up in the Indiana Jones episode, and later in the Inigo Montoya versus Zorro episode.
I
What
confess I
happens
did.
when you bring a knife to a gunfight? You get shot by a gun.
Yeah, but in Brock's case, you just kind of shrug it off and keep coming at the guy.
Yeah, one thing about it is, so snipers are trained to go for the. I mean, anyone who learns to use a gun is trained to go for the central body mass because that's the easiest place to hit and the easiest way to incapacitate someone. Brock has a large metal plate in his chest from when Helper was embedded in there. Like, any one of Archer's normal tactics are not going to phase Brock.
Archer is not your average shooter, though.
But by the time he realizes that,
You're right. He's more drunk.
yeah, he's more drunk and he's more of
And
an idiot.
therefore more accurate.
But as I mentioned before, Brock also has sniper training. He knows how to set himself up so as to avoid getting shot. And in the
Are you saying
meantime,
he knows gun kata?
listen, have you ever seen Brock Samson and Christian Bale in the same room at the same time? I don't think so. When are we going to do Equilibrium? Can we have a serious discussion about that right now, you guys?
No.
Let's talk about Equilibrium.
No. So all the examples you provided of Archer being an idiot, while yes, he can be an idiot, all those examples don't really pertain to this situation. Those examples relate to him actually being in Brock's position, aka guarding something or safekeeping something and having it taken from under his nose. There's no real example that you've provided that would show why he would fail in this situation. And he is really good at thieving and clandestine operations and getting into somewhere sneaky. And you bring up Katya and how he was beaten by her. He was able to turn her into a friend with his sweet talking. Who's to say that he couldn't sweet talk Brock instead of being a gay man? He could totally easily dress up as a woman and, Brock's a horny guy.
Right. He also
And,
does successfully seduce and turn Ramon, the guy who you talked about. When they meet him up again with him later in Archer Vice, Ramon is turned over to Archer's side. And also, real quick, you may mention that Archer has his bouts of drinking and, losing the eye of the tiger. That happens to Brock as well. In season 4, he gets super out of shape and depressed for a while. So, I mean, Brock is not...
One episode, sir. One episode.
That is not the
And
Brock
he's done
Samson
with
you are
that.
fighting today.
He's done with that by the end of that
Okay,
same
well, if
episode.
you can pick which Brock Samson we're fighting, we can pick which Archer we're fighting. We're picking Archer on a good day.
Yeah. And if Archer can...
Archer on a good day is only a little bit drunk, dude.
Just the right amount of drunk to where he is at optimal
Just the
fighting
tip of
efficiency.
drunkenness.
Indeed.
That's right. Also, we didn't bring up Katya, by the way. You guys brought up Katya, and he didn't turn her. She's been in love with him since the moment she saw him. It was only after she became a cyborg and joined up with Barry that she turned against him.
Yeah,
Just
but
for the
they did try to fight a couple of times, but he talked her out of it, became, well, at some points more than friends.
Congratulations. You convinced someone who has loved you since she was like, I don't know, 16 not to kill you. That's not an accomplishment.
I have heard no argument or points as to why Brock would even be a good guard besides protecting a giant fortress. I have no idea how he would work with a bunch of civilians around. I have no idea how he would keep an eye on everything when Archer has all of this equipment that could help him.
He's a
steal.
bodyguard. That's what he does.
Still.
He's not guarding the body.
Yeah, this is a different situation, and I haven't really heard about how any of it would be handled by Brock. He sounds like he's just a big meat bag. He's just a big brute. Luckily, we're not in a cage fight.
I'm picturing Archer sticking to catwalks and ventilation shafts and things throughout the course of this mission, and just...
Did you not hear the part about how the Guild of Calamitous Intent full-on attacked the Venture compound and Brock fought all of them off single-handedly?
This
Out
is
in
a
the
much
open, but
more delicate situation.
Archer's not going to fight him out in the open if it can be avoided. And if he ever does get up into sort of medium range, Archer will shoot him. And if he ever does get close, Archer's going to peace out, and he's going to be a lot quicker than the big lumbering Brock.
And you have certainly proven that Brock is not a delicate guy.
I know he's not a delicate guy. What's going to happen is that Archer's going to show up to steal the device. Brock's going to come from the ceiling, from the shadows where he's been hiding, and stab Archer right between the kidney and the spleen with a knife, just a twist. And then if that doesn't work, he'll convince Archer he has testicular cancer.
Well, luckily, Archer's already survived cancer, so he would handle it like a champ.
He is totally unfazed, yeah.
Totally unfazed is not what I would describe Archer after he found out he had breast cancer.
Well.
Well, he dealt with it just fine. And Brock's never even going to see Archer. Like I said, he's going to be in disguise.
His turtleneck will be slightly darker black.
Yes. He'll fit right in.
Oh my gosh, you guys. This is like the hardest match I've ever
No,
had
it's
to
not.
judge.
No, it's not.
No, it
It's
really
pretty
is.
easy.
Like, you guys are doing a good job. Okay, this is like the case of an unstoppable force of stupidity, but still an unstoppable force against an immovable object with a mullet.
A Swedish immovable object with a mullet. Yes.
Wow. Okay, so you're gonna have to do really well in the lightning round. Oh yeah, and that's happening right now.
What?
Oh, God, no.
Lightning round.
Oh, lightning!
Truckosaurus.
During the climax of the fight, collateral damage.
Phrasing.
Wait, what? All right.
All right, I'm willing to concede the fight at this point. That was good.
Extra points to your side. Anyway, collateral damage and mayhem causes the latest invention of Niantic ink to malfunction, causing several red beams of light to fire off randomly into the crowd, hitting both Brock and Archer. Both men are seemingly absorbed by the beams, which then retract into the machine. Sometime later, they awaken to find themselves in a lab with an older, gray-haired gentleman standing in front of the table, facing away from them. When he turns and sees the two, he smiles excitedly, says he's been expecting them. He goes on to ramble that when he was a young man, he was a serious Pokemon trainer, but in his old age, he only has 3 left, and wishes that 2 of them go to Brock and Archer, or Red and Blue as he calls them. And so begins the legend of the greatest Pokemon trainers to ever walk the Kanto region.
What?
And perhaps the other areas of the strange world. But there can only be one greatest. Advocates, tell me how your respective secret agents would progress from this point, and argue how they would become the very best, like no one ever was.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, man. This
I'm
is
all about
training
this.
perfect.
All about this.
Archer has experience with crazy old... I'm assuming this is Professor Oak as well, right?
Yes.
Okay.
This is the red-blue game.
He has experience with crazy older scientists, Dr. Krieger, who makes lots of fun little inventions for Archer to use in the field. Not like any kind of pocket monster things like Pokemon, but he has experience dealing with this, and he knows to... whatever. Dr. Krieger, Professor Oak, similarities, correlation. Nailed it. Okay, and so
Professor Oak is a Nazi?
what? Go, no.
Come on.
Okay.
You know Krieger's a Nazi, right?
He's
I
technically
know he's
a
an old
clone
perv,
of
but-
Hitler? Like Hitler?
Yeah.
Something like that. Okay, anyways,
Nazi.
but Archer has a lot of experience in dealing with animals, and he loves animals. He's able to communicate with them. He has close bonds with him. It would be very easy for him to learn how to train Pokemon and use them appropriately, just like with Cheryl's, Ocelot?
Ocelot, yeah.
Babu, I think was the name, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they become best friends, and he would easily be able to use them. While Brock would probably be like, ugh, animal, I gotta kill it so I can be manly. Ugh. And then kill it, and he would end up killing all his Pokemon, and he would be the shittiest trainer ever because all his Pokemon would be dead because he'd kill them.
Yeah, that was basically the main points I wanted to touch on as well. We see that Archer has a very good relationship at the beginning of the first episode with a little French bulldog that he finds to be the cutest thing in the world. And at several points throughout it, we see that Archer has just an insane gift dealing with animals where, yeah, as we said, Brock's going to be too busy stabbing all of them with a knife. And as time has gone on, as we've said, Archer has grown a bit more human, and his cancer, as you've brought up, did soften him a bit, and this will lead to his advantage once he gets to the Pokemon world, where being a little bit softer and a little bit more understanding and a little bit more, of a human is going to help him out, actually.
I think that pug's name was, or the French bulldog, Abelard, right? Was it?
That was the
Abelard,
one,
yeah.
yes.
So I know nothing about Pokemon, but I'm going to say this much. What you're saying right now about Archer having this, ability to commune with animals, basically, let's not forget that by the end of his relationship with Babu, they are not on good terms. That final scene with the two of them in the car together features Archer mouthing off to Babu, like scratching him all over, and once again pissing everywhere. So let's not go crazy about this whole
They have their
Archer
disagreements, but so did Ash and Pikachu, but they worked it out.
That's the last time we saw the two of them together.
But it's not called peeing everywhere. It's called splash. It's a skill.
Okay. Brock, while he definitely his relationship with animals has not been depicted in the best way. Pokemon aren't really animals, right? When we're talking about training them, we're talking about nurturing someone younger and more innocent than yourself and actually building them up to be more than what they are, which is exactly what we see Brock do with the Venture boys, specifically Hank, who idolizes Brock, and who Brock is a better father figure to Hank than his own father is, than Dr. Venture is to Hank. He's a horrible dad. Brock actually does really, really well in that role. So yeah, Archer, I'm sure you'll concede, is an asshole. And that's not going to help out. Brock is a killing machine, but he's a super nice guy, and he gets along really well with most people. So I think, again, knowing nothing about Pokemon, it seems to me that he'd be the much better choice when it comes to training and nurturing someone else. Dan?
So you guys talk about Archer's relationship with certain animals, how he's good with ocelots and bulldogs and that sort of thing. But you have to keep in mind, he is terrified of a lot of animals.
Wait, also, Dan, sorry.
Yeah.
The bulldog thing. That dog got in his house because he was fucked up. One of his rules is he doesn't allow dogs in his house.
Yeah.
Just saying. It's not like he's got this huge connection.
He ended up loving
his tough,
it.
mannish exterior talking, but at his core, he did love the dog. He was just...
As soon as he woke up sober, he demanded that she take it and get out.
That was just
right.
Then and there.
All right,
Dan, continue.
The deeper truth about Archer is that he gets really emotional about animals, both to his benefit and to his detriment. The reason that Brock is so good at killing giant creatures is because he's able to look at them objectively. He looks at them and he sees what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are. That is an inherent part of playing Pokemon. You have to know which Pokemon to use against another in order to win. Secondly, Brock may actually know about Pokemon because, unlike Archer, he spends time around children who may have played it. As a result, he may have soaked up some information about it, which Archer
I doubt
would
he
not
was
have.
paying any attention to whatever dumb shit
I promise.
No,
were doing.
he
I promise
absolutely
you.
does.
I promise you, he was exposed to a lot more of it than Archer was.
And he knows, he's demonstrated in the past that he knows exactly what Dean and Hank are into. He knows, he's a good father, man. He knows exactly what they're doing with their lives and what they enjoy and what they do.
Yeah.
So yeah, Dean totally plays Pokemon, and Brock would know about that.
The other part of it is that Archer is so incredibly narcissistic and self-centered, and when you're a Pokemon trainer, you have to be selfless. You have to put your Pokemon before yourself, which is something that Archer is fundamentally incapable of doing. Brock is much more able to train people to become killing machines, which his Pokemon will do.
Archer gives a baby a tattoo, you guys.
Because it's a badass baby.
And I'm
His
pretty
Pokemon
sure
are going to have awesome tattoos.
I'm pretty sure that the first time Archer sees a Totodile, he will freak the hell out
No. This
and
is
run
first
away.
generation, sir. First generation.
All right. You say Archer would have no experience with someone playing Pokemon. I'm pretty sure Dr. Krieger probably played Pokemon, considering he made himself like some ridiculous Japanese waifu thingamajigger hologram. I'm pretty sure that guy played Pokemon too.
Being a crazy,
But Archer wouldn't give a shit.
Being a crazy
Sure he
man-child,
would.
Archer himself may play Pokemon for all we
Yeah.
know.
And plus, we're lucky, you're saying, Pokemon trainer has to be selfless. They don't want anything to happen to their Pokemon. We've all been in that situation where we're trying to capture a Pokemon and we have weaker Pokemon and it's stronger, and you let 1 Pokemon, 2 Pokemon, 3 Pokemon fall just so you can get it just within that inch of life so you can capture it. So please, of course you let your Pokemon get hurt sometimes, but then you give them a cookie or a treat and then they heal up and then it's fine.
Some of us have not been in that situation.
Yeah, but see, Brock would do that because A, he's a hardened, trained warrior down to his core, and he knows when to do that sort of thing. Archer is too oblivious and too selfish to put that amount of thought on anything that isn't him. He just doesn't have the sort of exterior focus that is required in order to make your way around this situation where you have to care for and train other things other than yourself. He might capture a couple of Pokemon, but he's going to use them as butlers.
No.
He's not going to use them as warriors.
This does not happen when it comes to animals or kids with Archer. He is happy to provide with them, make connections with them. I mean, you know,
he and that baby were bonding,
yeah,
tattoo aside.
Giving your baby a tattoo
is
that's a serious bond, and he'll be great at this.
Oh man! All right, I take
you
it.
You keep comparing the animals to humans. Archer loves animals, not so much humans.
Not so much alligators.
That doesn't mean he's good at working with them.
And you know, the crocodiles and alligators thing, this would make for a great story where he finally learns to love crocodiles and alligators because he catches that one Pokemon. He's like, oh, this Pokemon is so good and useful. I'm going to be friends with it and I'm going to get over my fear and it's going to be a great movie script.
That is not how Archer's brain works at all.
Yeah, but he's softened up. You said it yourself. He has learned to empathize with people. He has stopped calling
with alligators.
All right. There's no Totodiles in this generation. So, this is really fucking hard. So I'm gonna go to my chambers, aka the bathroom, and think about this.
Is it really hard, Kit?
Yeah.
Phrasing.
Is it really hard?
That's really hard.
Wow.
All right.
Seriously, are we not doing phrasing anymore?
Someone just to tell me if we're not doing that.
Okay. All right. Be mean to each other. Bye.
Do you not do phrasing?
You guys just want to do Archer and Venture Brothers quotes for the next 10 minutes?
We could. Is Kit off mic? Is Kit away from being able to hear us now?
Yeah, she's away.
Okay.
This carpet is Persian, irreplaceable. What with there not being a Persia anymore?
Good stuff.
Oh, man.
I asked because I think you guys might have the edge here. We'll see how it turns out. But Brock is crazy, man.
I'm actually really surprised you didn't go with a specific argument that I would have jumped on in your place.
What is it? I'm curious.
So it's the fact that Brock, I know I'm arguing for him, but the fact remains that most of his dealings with like the supervillain community, it's a game, man. Like, they're all fulfilling their established roles and they're all doing, you know, what they all want to do, but they're having fun.
Yeah.
I have never watched Venture Brothers, so I wouldn't.
I was trying to put that forth that they're all kind of like incompetent and like very themey and not actually that threatening most of the time, you know. So.
Oh, there's that great episode where I don't know, something happens with Dean, like Dean gets sick or something, and Brock is a captive of the Monarch. And they're all just really bored, so Brock stages a breakout, and allows them to do this big dramatic showdown between him and the Monarch. And then Dr. Venture calls back because Dean is better, and Monarch's like, "Crap, it's your father!" And they all like start putting everything back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Liz, I have one phrase for you. If this does not make you want to watch the Venture Brothers, I do not know what will. That guy from the Labyrinth just turned into an eagle.
That's right. David Bowie is huge in the Venture Brothers.
Yep,
I did see that. See that.
Well, you gotta see more of it. You gotta see all of it.
God,
yeah.
You need to watch that show, Liz.
I don't know
glorious.
why I have never like that and like Aqua Teen Hunger Force or whatever.
Venture Brothers is so intensely up your alley. Like, Brock Samson is totally the sort of character that you play in RPGs. It's just 100%.
You know what I love about Brock Samson? Is that he was originally based on a wrestler.
Yes, I saw that.
I read that too, yeah.
Yeah, Sid Vicious, and the WWE actually asked them to tone down his psychopath behavior because it was too much like the Sid Vicious character. And there's another wrestler by the name of Brock Lesnar, who is also hugely muscled, blonde, like. Oh, it's so good.
With the knife tattooed on his chest.
Yeah, the sword tattoo on his chest.
Sure. I thought it was a switchblade. I think it's a switchblade.
I think it's a sword, but I could be wrong about that.
I
watch a lot of wrestling.
I remember watching him in UFC, and he was not that great of a UFC fighter.
He was badass until he got diverticulitis.
He's much better at wrestling.
I actually agree.
Which Pokemon are you talking about? Hitmonchan or
Brock Lesnar-chan?
Yeah,
Brock Lesnar. I never caught that one. Anyway, this was really tough. I think the lightning round really did help me figure it out, but it was very close, guys. I'm going to have to say the person who wins this fight and also becomes the greatest Pokemon trainer ever is Brock Samson.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Finally beat the undefeatable combo of Liz and Colin.
God damn right.
man.
And we've actually broken your streak of win-loss, Miles.
Yeah, I won 2 in a row.
I think you're over 50% now.
Fuck yeah. Oh, Brock, I knew you would do it
Yep,
for me, buddy.
that was
I
it.
knew you would.
That was it.
Brock Samson, he's the man. What are you going to do?
Oh, man.
He's going to beat your ass and then sleep with your wife.
Yep.
Even though he couldn't
Nothing-
sleep.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's pretty fair
That was
you
more of a
won.
logistical issue than anything.
I thought the Cold War was over!
Yep.
Lying is like 95% of what we did, so.
Thank you for listening, everyone. Next week, Maleficent versus the Wicked Witch of the West.
Smash Fiction is produced by Miles Schneiderman, with logo design by Colin Mulcairn.
special thanks to Kevin MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod for our theme song, which is called Hitman. You can find his works at www.incompetech.com.
You can follow Smash Fiction on Facebook at facebook.com/smashfictionpodcast and on Twitter at smashficpodcast.
Find us on iTunes, and if you leave us a good review, we shall become more powerful than you could possibly imagine.
If you have any suggestions, feedback, or other contributions, send them to us at smashfictionpodcast@gmail.com and help us continue the fight.
If Archer and Brock became gym leaders,
Oh boy.
which type of Pokemon would they control?
Fighting. Or possibly Rock, because apparently in the Pokemon universe, people named Brock do the Rock Gym.
There you go.
Is there an alcohol type Pokemon?
I think that'd be Poison.
That's an amazing
Poison? Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that or electric. So when every time Archer says danger zone, lightning strikes just go.